welcome back to another episode of Beauty by the Beaker. I am one half of your hosts, Natalie.
And I am Sadie, one whole host, one half of the hosts.
And sometimes I am one half of two idiots.
Are we all,
We're back. And we're so excited. Episode number 3.
How did we get here already?
Happy as can 3.
We missed you guys.
It's
been a whole week.
Yeah, and this episode is coming out on time. How excited is everyone about that? And before we get into anything, leave us a review. That would be so great. Spotify, Apple Podcasts.
Yeah.
This episode's coming out on Apple Podcasts at midnight.
Mm-hmm.
And
Spotify and YouTube.
And Spotify and YouTube. So please go to where you get your podcasts, either Spotify or Apple Podcasts. You're already here. You're already listening to us. Go give us a review.
Yeah.
It's very easy. On Spotify, you don't even have to say anything. It's anonymous. Just hit 5 stars. Takes 2 seconds. Have you done it?
Yeah.
How long did it take you?
2 seconds.
That's what I'm saying.
Give us a review, even if it's not 5 stars.
You can be honest.
Someone gave us a bad review.
Someone. Yeah.
But you know what? We're still learning. That's the thing about this.
This is the worst content we're putting out.
Yeah.
If you're along for the ride now, just know it's only up from here.
Yeah, exactly.
Only one way.
Yeah, we're at rock bottom. So
this is what our rock bottom looks like.
Yeah. Exciting for us. We're on our social medias.
You can find us on Instagram, TikTok,
Facebook.
If you're into that. Beauty X Beaker. It's all the same. So anywhere you want to go, Beauty X Beaker.
Yeah.
And if you're just general browsing the web, honestly, I would encourage you to start beautyxbeaker.com, www on the World Wide Web.
Also, follow our personal accounts where we're trying to become influencers. NatBXB and SadieBXB.
Guys, follow me too. It's NatBXB.
Follow her.
I'll post.
One day.
Threaten me to post. I'll do it.
I'm going to post threat. Speaking of influencers.
Please tell me more.
We have got quite the discussion today.
Really?
I have always been fascinated by how influencers have kind of changed the beauty space.
Yeah.
It's been an interesting rise within, I feel like the last 20 years technically, but I was only 5, so I wasn't really aware of that. The last 10 years for sure has been crazy when it comes to influencers.
I was very lucky, and I didn't realize at the time how lucky I was, but I worked at a call center job in 2018 and 2019. And I got to spend all that time watching YouTube. Mm-hmm. And that was Dramageddon.
Oh, listen, we'll get into it.
But I have definitely been a huge fan of beauty influencers specifically.
Yeah, a lot of the ones that I used to watch were like, they're probably different than you because for some context, Nat is 4 years older.
Me. Yeah.
And also you were way cooler than I was. So that sort of put up a picture.
Let's put up pictures of us during the same year.
Yeah.
Okay.
2012 side by side.
2012 side by side.
Yeah. And you're going to see anytime Nat says,
let's also do 2016 side by side.
Okay.
Just interesting. Because that was the year I got married.
I was in high school. To discuss influencers, I feel like we have to go back before the influencer was synthesized.
Yeah.
To the OGs.
Yeah, because an influencer has to have been more of a development with the internet.
Yeah, it's very much social media driven.
Yeah.
So before that, who was influencing all of our beauty?
Britney Spears.
Britney Spears exclusively.
Britney Spears only.
Britney Spears and other celebrities in general. Unless you're not, it was exclusively Britney Spears.
Not true.
Who else?
Loved Gwen Stefani. Loved Shakira.
As like a 6-year-old?
Yeah. Probably, yeah.
That's a crazy roster.
Oh, my roster was wild. My older brother, my closest sibling is 6 years older than me.
Yeah,
so when I was 6 years old, my closest sibling in age was nearing teenagerhood.
Yeah.
So I listened to Korn because I wanted my brothers to think I was cool.
Did they?
No. They were like, we know you don't like this. I love this song. Thanks for letting me borrow your corn CD.
We're having a lot of fun. Really? What is a celebrity?
Good question.
Celebrities, by definition, are people who've gained success and notoriety, usually in an area of entertainment of some sort. So like acting, singing, dancing, sports. They're usually very widely known, and they also connect with a really wide range of people. Mm-hmm. So a lot of different demographics.
Their image is widely distributed, usually globally.
Yes. They're very marketable because they are liked by so many groups of people. And then influencers are generally normal, everyday people who've created followings based on some sort of niche, typically. So you have lifestyle influencers, beauty influencers, pranksters, couples accounts. Actually, I went through a phase where I was really into pranks? YouTubers. So yeah, influencers are typically people who have more of a niche, and so they're not as widely marketable to audiences like celebrities are. That obviously depends on the influencer. There are some that have become really popular, but typically they have to start from somewhere, and so they're generally starting in like a very specialized category. Early influencers started around the time that the internet became more popular, obviously. Where else would they influence?
The common family home now got internet.
The family home computer. Remember those days?
I do, yes. I was fortunate enough to never have dial-up, but I did have friends with dial-up. That was interesting.
I don't even know what dial-up is. Doesn't it make a noise? Or something?
Dial-up, I don't know what it is because
You didn't have it.
I didn't have it, and I'm not in tech by any means, but dial-up is like, basically you can't use the phone and the internet at the same time. Oh. So it was like, get off the computer, I have to make a call. That's dial-up.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Exclusive right.
I feel like there was also a lot of early YouTubers that started around that time that are still.
Yes. So YouTube was created in 2005, and that was pretty much the start of the platform. I think that MySpace was older than YouTube, but I don't think that's where a lot of the influencers originated. It came with video. And so they would often cross-post to Facebook as well, which was founded in 2004. YouTube started 20 years ago.
That is crazy.
And in 2010, Instagram was created, and that became another platform for people to post on. Yeah. Isn't that kind of crazy?
Yeah.
A lot of the original influencers that were posting, I won't go through all of their names, but the biggest one is Michelle Phan, beauty YouTuber. Yeah, she's sort of credited with being like the OG YouTuber. And then there are other ones like Blair and Elle Fowler, Marlene Estelle, Ingrid Nielsen, who I did watch. And then Graveyard Girl and Jenna Marbles were not like beauty YouTubers, but I feel like they were kind of beauty adjacent.
Yeah. Someone who's also like really early on, Nikki Tutorials.
Yes.
Did you ever watch her?
I did like later, 2019. I didn't watch her earlier stuff, but
yeah, she started very early. I want to know when.
Probably around the same time.
Nikki Tutorials started posting in 2008.
On what?
On YouTube.
On YouTube, yeah. Because it was started in 2005.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's OG. What about Jeffree Star?
2006. I wanted to look up Jaclyn Hill as well. 2011, so a little bit later.
All of them were sort of around that time, I think. They could all be considered OG influencers. But a lot of these influencers had a leg up because there were just a lot fewer competitors in 2010. Now everyone is on the internet creating content, and back then it was not like that. So they were able to make videos that felt really real and personal. A lot of them were filming them on their phone cameras or webcams, which were terrible quality.
Webcam is crazy to think about. The quality
is horrendous.
It's horrendous.
It's like you filmed it on a BlackBerry.
The fruit.
Yes. But they did feel so real and authentic because it wasn't a whole production.
Yeah.
And so it felt like you set up your camera on your bedroom floor and then you're making a video just chatting to your audience. It felt so personal back then in 2010. Another reason why a lot of these older videos felt a lot more authentic was because they weren't doing as many brand deals. And that was because it was just sort of before the time where brands realized that influencers were a way to market their products. So generally, the products that YouTubers were talking about were things that they actually liked or actually tried. But free product handouts didn't have to be disclosed until 2009. And so there was a period of time where influencers were getting free things, but they didn't actually have to disclose that those things were gifted to them. And so it felt more authentic because they weren't saying that it was a gift.
Yeah.
But there was a little bit of a gray area, and sometimes it could be misleading consumers.
Yeah.
So pros and cons for sure. But I think in general, that era, there was just a lot more authenticity throughout all of the content that was being posted. Historically, celebrities have had the biggest impact on the cosmetic industry and product sales. So throughout history, a lot of actresses appeared in beauty and cosmetic ads. People like Lana Turner, Lucille Ball, and Elizabeth Taylor. They were in ads for a lot of personal care products like soap and shampoo, and then also makeup products as well. Coco Chanel also, we talked about this, literally changed the beauty standard in the 80s because of her celebrity status, because she came back from a vacation tan. So obviously celebrities have a very big impact on the beauty industry and have had historically. Some other things that are interesting is that Elizabeth Taylor had a fragrance in 1991 called the White Diamonds fragrance. And it was the first fragrance promoted within a mini movie TV ad. And in lifetime sales, they have sold over $1.5 billion just from perfume. So obviously celebrity lines are quite lucrative. We all know Britney Spears' Fantasy.
Of course.
Obviously, how could you not?
How could you not?
That line has also grossed over $1.5 billion in sales. And apparently at one point, a bottle was sold every 15 seconds.
Wow.
Yeah. So big impact from celebrities on the beauty industry, but I think we are now seeing less of that impact. There are still celebrity brands that are popular. For example, Fenty Beauty by Rihanna, Rare Beauty is a big one by Selena Gomez, and then Ariana Grande's beauty line and fragrances are also really popular.
Yeah.
Those are some of the top ones that I can think of.
Rhode, which just sold
to Elf.
Elf. Yeah. It's Hailey Bieber. I would argue she's celebrity.
Yeah.
Kind of a weird pseudo-celebrity. Yeah. Because she's kind of, she is a very interesting one. But I do feel like at this point, she is more celebrity. And at the point of launching Rhode, more celebrity.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that she is a celebrity who markets herself as an influencer.
Yeah.
But she's not an influencer because she started from celebrity status.
Yeah.
Also, Kylie Jenner. Who can forget the lip kit craze in 2015? Did you ever buy them?
Yeah. I bought an entire Christmas collection gift set.
Did you like the...
I actually liked everything except the lip kit is crazy. But it was in 2016 that I got it. And liquid lipstick was huge. That was like kind of the newer thing in 2016. And it was mostly because of Kylie's lip kits.
Yeah. So in the 2010s, there was a pretty obvious shift and influencers started to become a lot more prevalent in cosmetic advertising. There were a lot of influencers that I grew up with. Acacia Kersey, Bethany Moda, My Life as Ava. You've probably never heard of any of these people.
No.
Megan Rinks, Chloe Couture. Have you heard of Amanda Steele? Makeup by Mandy?
Maybe, but it doesn't sound that familiar to me.
Okay, well, either way, these influencers were still making the same sort of content as the OG YouTubers. So lots of hauls, makeup tutorials. There were a lot of back to school videos as well. And Christmas hauls started to become really popular around that time. And then brand sponsorships started to become more prevalent. And they were a lot more... not a lot more, but a bit more polished than they were in the early 2000s. And then lighting and camera quality was also more of a focus, and influencing started to be looked at as a legitimate side hustle and maybe even a job rather than just like a hobby that people had on the side. And then as time went on, there were even more shifts within the beauty community. So the community started to become a lot more diverse. So there was a lot more LGBTQ representation. Creators like James Charles, Jeffree Star, who was already popular, but
maybe a little bit more mainstream.
Yeah, Manny MUA and Patrick Starr and Nikita Dragun as well. They all became more popular during that time. YouTubers and their followers were also starting to call for more inclusive shade ranges within a lot of cosmetics and just more inclusivity in general from cosmetic companies. And then drama also started to become a lot more popular in the 2010s,
Yeah.
especially between YouTubers, which I'm sure you've heard of.
I have.
The famous Dramageddon. And the thing about drama too is that it actually boosted a lot of popularity of the YouTubers that were involved in the drama.
Yeah.
But it was also causing damage to the brands that they were partnering with and the brands that they were launching. So as we've alluded to, one of the most famous examples was between Tati Westbrook, James Charles, and for some reason Jeffree Star was involved in Dramageddon.
Yeah.
That was in 2019.
I feel like also somehow Trisha Paytas was involved.
There were so many people dipping their toes into the Dramageddon.
But also 2019 was the same year that Jaclyn Hill had her lipstick scandal.
So for some context, Dramageddon, do you remember what it was about?
Yes.
Do you want to explain?
Yeah. Dramageddon. Basically, it started because James Charles went to Coachella and wanted to go into a VIP area. And from my understanding, was able to do so if he sponsored a hair vitamin, a gummy hair vitamin. And so he like posted a video at Coachella about this gummy hair vitamin so that he could go into their VIP area. And then in response to that, Tati Westbrook made, did she make Bye Sister? Is that her video?
I think she did, yeah.
And he did it at my birthday dinner.
The reason it was so dramatic is because Tati had a hair vitamin company and Tati and James had been friends up until this point. They'd collaborated on YouTube. Yeah, so him sponsoring this other hair vitamin company was betrayal to the highest degree.
Yeah, she saw him as like a son.
Yeah.
But then
he was at her birthday dinner.
He was at her birthday dinner.
And then I don't know why Jeffree Star was involved. But somehow Jeffree Star got inserted into the drama.
Yeah. It's kind of like right now he's having the drama with Louis Vuitton.
Yeah.
No one knows why. He got product for free from Louis Vuitton and rated it well and then bought more product and continued to speak highly of it. But he speaks of it as like, I don't know why everyone's saying, calling out specific creators who didn't like the product. And it's like, you don't have to do all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do feel like he tries to nudge his way into any
Which
situation.
Jeffree Star, if you're watching this for some reason, get your bag. So what is the biggest difference between influencers and celebrities when it comes to promoting cosmetics? You might be asking yourself the natural
and I'm
question.
Dying for you to tell me.
Celebrities usually don't appeal to a specific region, age, or social group, and so their audience is usually very diverse. They're a lot more marketable to larger audiences, but that also means that it's harder for them to get close and be really engaged with their followers.
I listened to a video before you came over about that specifically, celebrities in personal care ads. They were saying a lot of the reason that these brands could get away with that is because they were so like well-known brands.
Right.
Indie beauty brands they couldn't hire a celebrity, but nobody's watching an Aveeno commercial and looking at the celebrity and being like, wow, that's their real skin.
Yeah.
You know? And we all know that. No one's fooled by it. But because it's like Aveeno and you know about them already, you don't have to associate a real transformation. And you're also not like, oh, can't think of anyone right now.
Zendaya.
I love Zendaya. And so I'm going to buy this thing because she uses it.
Yeah.
You know, like that doesn't happen the same way. But like, especially before it had to be disclosed with influencers, it feels a lot like these people on the internet are your actual friends.
Yep.
And so when they suggest something, or you can see like sometimes they are making videos without makeup or without or get ready with me type things, and they use certain products and you watch them get ready using a product. So obviously that's what they use every day, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I feel like when I see a commercial on TV for like a shampoo or something, it doesn't even really register in my head that I want to go buy that thing.
No.
Because it feels so fake.
Yeah.
Like the way that they'll show the hair or like there are those commercials where they'll take a makeup pad and be like, removes and it's so obviously fake. I question who that's even supposed to be marketing towards. I don't know. Those commercials are just weird because I feel like we're all kind of past the point of believing that they're legitimate.
I do wonder though with those, if it's just the technique of like, I wonder if they know visually people are tuning out and they're just going to look at their phones during that time. So they're like, visually, we're just going to make something that is kind of stimulating to look at, like beautiful glossy hair and like also a big stream of flowers and like
something
that's
chaos.
Yeah, not related.
Yes.
and then like making sure to say their name a lot and saying like a lot of buzzwords and stuff. Yep. I think probably because they're TV commercials and they have a platform of millions, they're relying more on just grabbing your attention and not so much on proving to you in this amount of time that their product is good.
Yep.
It's more about just getting you to hear their name. And then when you're at the store and you see it, you're like, oh, I know that company.
Yeah.
I saw their shampoo ad.
Everything in your subconscious is now coming back to the surface when you see the bottle on the shelf.
Yeah.
That would make a lot of sense. Because also, like we said, that marketing is a lot more generalized. And so maybe that's the way that they're doing it, is they're not trying to target any one specific audience or group like an influencer would be with their videos.
Yeah. I feel like TV commercials are targeting just movie watchers and TV watchers, which is just so general. That's just one avenue of marketing.
Yeah.
And I think there probably are a lot of companies who use celebrities for their TV commercials, but then also send product out to influencers so that they can get more of a direct connection with their consumer base through that method as well.
Yeah, they're kind of playing all sides now.
I don't know this. It's just...
it would make sense. If I was a marketing major, that's what I would suggest.
One of the main differences is that a celebrity is not expected to be making their own content, whereas an influencer, it is at least your impression that that person is making all the content themselves.
Yeah. In theory, that means that they are on their phone, and so there's almost an expectation for them to be involved and engaged with their followers because you're posting the thing on this app, you see the comments. Whereas a celebrity, we've kind of accepted that they're probably going to be disconnected from that through management or teams that take over their social media and things like that.
Yeah.
Usually whatever an influencer is doing, they're typically specializing in that one thing, that type of content. And so because they're specializing in that thing, they have more power and influence directly to that community. And they usually will promote or market activities and products by sharing their experiences with those things with their followers. So if it's a beauty influencer, for example, they try a new product, they're going to share their experience with that product with their community, whereas a celebrity might not be as likely to do something like that.
Yeah.
And the influencer is usually a part of that community, and that means that the influencer is aware of what that community likes, the type of content. Like on TikTok, there are very specific gym videos, ways that people film their videos and post them. The same with lifestyle content. There's a very obvious way that they do that. They're more involved in what consumers like, and so they can tweak their content to match that. Whereas a celebrity would have a team of people who are doing that. They're just showing up to promote the content. So when it comes to partnering with cosmetic companies, there's a drastic difference between celebrities and influencers. So celebrities generally less involved in the marketing campaign for cosmetics. They're usually more conscious about the partnerships that they accept as well, because the wrong partnership can have really negative effects to their career. We all remember Kendall Jenner and the Pepsi controversy.
Yeah.
Kendall Jenner's fine, but she did take a hit for a while there.
Yeah. And it wasn't her, I'm sure the commercial was not her idea.
She showed up on set. But that's the thing, is that when you are the face of a project, you take the hit if it goes badly.
Yeah.
And then also, depending on the status of the celebrity, these brand deals between cosmetic companies and celebrities can be upwards of 6 to 7 figures. So it just costs so much more money to book a celebrity to advertise your product.
Yeah.
Whereas an influencer, usually they're very involved in the creative process. And then not all influencers are as conscious about the products that they're promoting, especially if they're not popular enough to have the luxury of turning down brands. Sometimes, especially like smaller or micro influencers, just take whatever brand deals they're offered because they're getting paid. And then in comparison to celebrities, brand deals with influencers are usually a lot cheaper, especially if they're smaller influencers. Sometimes the brand deals will even just be free product or PR, like being able to be on the PR list. So from a company's perspective, a brand's perspective, there's a lot of value in influencer marketing over celebrity marketing these days. It's usually cheaper. You have a more direct line to the consumers.
Yeah. And there is probably, I know that brands will offer things at different tiers to different levels of celebrities. So there are more like Tana type influencers. Tana Mojo
she's a YouTuber.
She's a YouTuber, but she just barely launched a product with Tarte.
Oh.
a lip liner with Tarte. So she's a YouTuber, and she wasn't really like a beauty YouTuber. She was just more of a story time YouTuber, but rose to almost celebrity status and then got a product. That's one extreme of it. But then there are also, I know that Tarte has like their brand trip where they're taking influencers.
Yep.
More like macro influencers, like the Tarte trip influencers.
Yes.
But then there are people probably just receiving free product or receiving a little bit of money to make a video.
Exactly.
But they're not going on the trip and not promoting every single day, or they're not getting the same level of.
Yeah, there's different levels of what the brand will pay out.
From a branding perspective and like a marketing perspective, it does seem like you could customize your budget a lot more using influencers, because you can offer as little as just free product, but as much as you're willing to pay.
Yes. And with celebrities, there's probably still some customization, but not nearly as much as there is with influencers. So yeah, that's a good point. I think there are also a lot of brands that have kind of become synonymous with YouTubers. So those are brands like Tarte. That's very much like an influencer YouTuber focused brand. Same with Morphe. That's a really big one. ColourPop, Anastasia Beverly Hills, Too Faced, and NYX. And then Kylie Cosmetics, I think, is pretty synonymous with YouTubers.
Yeah, I would say so.
And so a lot of these brands partnered with influencers in the first place because they realized they could reach a much larger audience with a lot less money. And so there are also several brands that have been launched by influencers that have become extremely popular. So collabs happen, like you mentioned with Tarte, but then also there are YouTubers who've launched their own brands. So Ipsy, if you've heard that, Ipsy and BoxyCharm were created by Michelle Phan in 2011. And like I said, she's basically the OG YouTuber.
Yeah.
The company has a private valuation, but it broke $1 billion in revenue after it merged with BoxyCharm in 2020. So that's a very wildly successful influencer brand. Huda Beauty, that was founded by Huda Katan in 2013. In 2017, 4 years later, it was valued at $1.2 billion.
That is crazy.
That's crazy money.
Yeah.
And she started off as an influencer. And then Glossier also was actually started by a blogger. And in 2021, about 10 years after it was founded, it had a $1.8 billion valuation. So the influencer brands can be very lucrative. There are also other influencer brands that I don't have stats on or anything, but like James Charles has his.
Yeah. Is Kat Von D?
I think she did start off as a YouTuber.
Yeah, I can't remember.
I don't know if her brand is still
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Although I will say I have heard very good things about her brand. Like,
it's really good.
Very highly. Did you use it ever?
I have used it. Yeah. I do like it a lot.
Yeah. I've heard really good stuff.
Yeah.
In general, the public is also just more trusting of influencers than celebrities when it comes to promoting cosmetic products. I'm going to throw some stats at you. Okay.
Please.
So 85% of social media users say they trust paid influencer posts more than celebrity endorsements. 71% of consumers trust opinions and product placements from influencers. And then among millennials, so you'll really get this one, 50% trust influencers for product advice versus 38% among their favorite celebrities, which is actually closer than I would have expected. They trust influencers more. But I think like a Gen Z statistic would be like 80-20.
That they trust influencers more?
Yeah.
Like I don't know.
80% trust influencers, 20% trust celebrities. Really?
I guess, yeah, Gen Z probably has their own.
And then Gen Alpha, who knows? Jury's still out on them. They're like, what, 6? So now, what has caused the shift from people trusting celebrities to trusting influencers? That was rhetorical. Just kidding.
Tell me.
So influencers have 24/7 access to their audiences through stories, lives, and responding to their comments. And so this is the type of connection that was never really offered with celebrities. We've never had this direct of access to the people that we're watching online. Parasocial relationships are also very popular with influencers.
Yeah.
Because there are so many frequent micro interactions, that feels like friendship. So anytime an influencer responds to your comments, you feel some sort of a relationship with them.
Yeah, like you now have a connection.
Exactly.
Yeah. For them, they're responding to hundreds of comments a day.
Yeah.
But it does build this weird relationship where you're like, oh, I responded to her story and she replied.
She cares about me.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, will never be us. We care about everyone who we respond to. Me with my 91 followers. We love you and we'll have a relationship with you.
We will.
Was weird. Anyway.
Sure.
So the algorithm rewards watch time and content that looks and feels authentic, and structured ads usually are just less appealing to consumers, and so that's not pushed out as much in the algorithm. And the public has also shifted to, well, I'm not necessarily sure if we have shifted to this, but the public wants to know as much as possible about the influencers that they're following. I think we also felt the same way about celebrities, but it wasn't attainable with celebrities, and now it feels attainable with influencers. People love getting an inside look into the lives of the people they look up to. That's why reality TV shows are so popular. Shows like MTV Cribs in like the early 2000s. And influencers have really bridged the gap between consumers and them.
Yeah. Well, one kind of big example of that we have seen a little bit more firsthand is the mommy blogger, because that's kind of a combination of different types of influencing. But I think what made them so successful was just the relatability.
Yeah.
That it's a bunch of women who stay at home and take care of families and are now seeing other women do that. And even though it is different, I think people enjoyed watching it because it was like, pack my kids' lunches and like things like that, where it's, oh, I do these things. And it was kind of this niche area where all of a sudden there are people that are online and sharing their experience as a mom and a wife and a woman.
and just a person,
in general. Yeah. But specifically with mommy bloggers, I think being a mother is a job that can feel very isolating.
Absolutely.
And so I think for a lot of moms, being able to watch content of other moms felt like a community.
And no matter what content you're consuming, if it's somebody like you, it does feel like a community in general. People who do a day in the life of working their job.
Yeah.
You're like, I do that.
Yeah.
I also have a job. And, you know, maybe you're also in corporate America and this person is as well. So like, I think that accessibility fosters trust as well, because you're like, this person does that. They like this product. That means I'm probably going to like it too, because I'm so similar to them.
Yeah.
People like feeling like other people are going through what they're going through.
Mommy blogging is just one of those niches of influencing. But with the rise of influencing, people were able to find the niche content that they related to. The content that I watched when I was getting married was a lot of like JC Marie and Teza and Indie Blue.
Yep.
It was also kind of that same niche of targeting young women who are living their lives, not as mothers, people who are traveling and people who are maybe getting married or like.
Yeah, there is content for everybody in whatever stage of life they're in.
Products that I have bought from influencers, usually they weren't beauty influencers. It was like people that I liked their personality. I liked, I don't know, the way they put their content together.
Yeah, or you thought they were cool and you wanted to be like them. And so in order to be like them, that means that you should use the products that they're using.
Yeah, like a lot of it is just like the aesthetics of the way that the product looks that I really like.
And brands know that.
Yeah, I feel like brands can target cosmetic users through influencers that don't necessarily have anything to do with cosmetics.
Yes, definitely. The biggest reason I wanted to talk about the influence of influencers on the cosmetic industry is because I wanted to touch on misinformation in the beauty space. Misinformation can include inaccurate, incomplete, misleading, or false information, as well as selective or half-truths. Whereas misinformation can exist with or without specific malicious intent, disinformation is deliberately deceptive and intentionally propagated. In short terms, misinformation is something that is not true, but you're not necessarily trying to be deceptive about it.
Yeah.
Disinformation is specifically misleading people, and you know that you're doing that.
Yeah.
It's intentional.
Yeah, I feel like the difference in cosmetics would be someone trying a product, you can tell people like, oh, this product helped my acne. And you can say it helped your acne, and you could be completely wrong.
Yep.
And it could have done nothing.
Exactly.
And it could have been something else that you were doing, like a diet change that helped your acne that just happened to be at the same time. Disinformation, I think, would be like, this product helped my acne. Here's my before and after. And the after photo was edited.
Yeah. Like you are aware that you are intentionally misleading people.
Yeah.
I think that misinformation and disinformation gets mixed up quite a bit, just in everything these days. And so I do want to focus specifically on misinformation because I think that's more prevalent within the cosmetic industry, at least for what I want to talk about today. So when it comes to the beauty space, like we mentioned, misinformation is rampant. It is everywhere. And I think this is for a lot of reasons, but the specific ones that I kind of could think of, the first one and probably biggest is lack of education. There's so many people in the beauty space. It's really oversaturated with information. And so it's just very easy for incorrect information to circulate. Someone sees a TikTok and then they make another TikTok about what they saw. They don't necessarily know if that original video was correct or not. It's just taking it at face value and then spreading more misinformation from that.
I feel like there's probably a lot of misinformation that is spread by disinformation.
Yes. It starts off as intentionally trying to mislead somebody and then somebody who is
misled.
Yes, exactly. They repeat that information. I also think that scientific creators aren't usually the most popular, and that makes misinformation easier to spread because it's just easier to digest something that's easy. Well, how do I want to say that? Things that are easier to understand spread a lot easier. What the you take it?
A conversation that I had recently, I was around salespeople and scientists. Something that we kind of talked about is that a lot of scientists are introverted. People who enjoy being in a lab and running experiments enjoy it because they can do it by themselves. That's obviously not every single person. That's not always the case. And this might be maybe a stereotype. Maybe this is misinformation that I'm sharing.
Or disinformation, perhaps.
But I do think that a lot of scientists are very smart people, but tend to get almost a little bit frustrated when people don't understand. Usually, smart people don't tend to be smart in every single subject. I'm really good at math and science, but I am so bad at spelling.
So I can even ask Nat to spell anything for you.
A note that I found where I spelled thoroughly. It says like 3 emails, read thoroughly. But the way I spelled it is insane.
I believe it to be true.
Not all scientists are good teachers.
Science is just very complicated, and sometimes it can be hard when you're doing hard science all the time to get out of your head and explain it in an easy way.
Yeah. I think there is a large crossover between scientists and introverts. And I think because of that, really high-level science concepts are not adequately
explained.
Explained and also just like talked about in general. The information is not shared as fluidly as it would be if it was like internet gossip, you know?
Yeah.
Because usually you find something out and you spend forever writing a research paper on it and then do a presentation at a conference or something. And it's a very different type of exposure for scientific information.
Yeah.
Because people don't understand that. Something that I bring up a lot is like the sunscreen study where they had sunscreens cross through skin. And then people will see that or hear that, and what they'll take from it is that sunscreen can pass through your cells. And I know the study that it's based on, that is not necessarily incorrect, but it's also not the whole thing.
Yeah, one thing I was going to mention is that there is such a lack of nuance on social media and in a lot of the content that is spread.
Yes.
And that's a perfect example of it. Is it's taking one thing that you heard one time and then spreading that information, and you have no idea what the context is behind that. You have no idea what that even means or if the study was done well. There's so many factors, but that information is not what spreads.
Yeah.
What spreads is the stuff that's easier to digest. And also, fear sells.
Yeah.
If you can make somebody afraid of something, you have a customer.
Yeah. For cosmetics specifically, it is difficult to get customers to switch products.
Yeah.
Like if there is a shampoo that you like and you get it at your grocery store or your drugstore or something, I think it's very difficult to convince people to make a change if it's something that they already like. Part of what can get people to reconsider their choices is fear.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of companies will market things like being free from something. You see that on a product and you're like, free from sulfates. Like, what's a sulfate?
Yeah, why does it need to be free of it?
Yeah.
Sulfates are ingredients, they're cleansers typically used in shampoos.
Yeah.
So they can strip like the dirt and oil from your hair.
Yeah.
And they used to be
They're used in a lot of things. A lot of they're using body wash, detergent.
Yeah.
Sulfates are probably the most common cleanser for personal care. Type of cleanser. At least big market and not more specific specialty high-end brands. I noticed that a lot because I thought I had a gluten intolerance for a while. And I noticed that things would say gluten-free. And it's almost like a marketing term where it's like, I know the grapes are gluten-free.
Yes. Half the time it's sulfate-free and it's on a hair oil. And I'm like, what do you, like, we know that already.
And they're like bandwagoning off the fear of sulfates.
Yeah.
They're like using the fear of that to get you to think that their product is better when that was never there to begin with, or that's not a concern to begin with.
Yeah. If you're a company and you are trying to figure out how to get people to buy your $30 shampoo, when people already buy a $5 shampoo, how do you convince them to make that switch? A really easy way is to make them afraid of that $5 shampoo by telling them that it's toxic or that it has harmful ingredients or endocrine disruptor. All of those things, you can now get a customer because you've made them afraid of something that they don't even necessarily have to be afraid of.
Yes. Sulfates are very inexpensive. Extremely inexpensive. And if a company wants to differentiate themselves, they have to use different surfactants that are more expensive. And the way that they can market above their competitors at lower costs is to demonize these cheaper ingredients.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way to sell more expensive products.
Exactly. Now that we kind of know about misinformation, I do want to talk about the role that influencers play in spreading misinformation. In 2019, a law was passed that said that ads have to be disclosed, but there are still cases of influencers not disclosing their ads, and that leads to a lack of transparency between the influencer and the consumer. A lot of influencers also overpromise results. One that is recent and very popular is Mascara Gate, if you remember that one. So in 2023, there was an influencer, her name's Michaela. She made a video about the L'Oreal Telescopic Lift Mascara. And basically what she did is she applies a coat of mascara and then she said that she applied a second coat, but the camera cuts. And then when it comes back, she very obviously has a set of fake eyelashes on.
Allegedly.
She allegedly has a fake set of eyelashes on.
Allegedly, a strip lash has been applied.
Allegedly. And so the video was disclosed as a paid partnership, but the content of the video was allegedly misleading.
I think that is, if fake lashes were applied, that is a good example of disinformation.
Yeah.
But then other people could see that and buy the mascara and continue to talk about it in a way that could perpetuate misinformation.
Yes, absolutely. Allegedly. Another thing that happens all the time that bugs me quite a bit is when influencers misuse scientific terminology and they promote unscientific marketing terms. So things like non-toxic, chemical-free, babe, everything's a chemical. We have to stop using that one. Emulsifying is one that I see often. It's not that big of a deal, but we've talked about it before when people say they're emulsifying a product or something. That's not necessarily what's happening.
No. And the fear around emulsifiers.
Which, like, why?
Emulsifier free is kind of a thing that people are talking about now.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hope you hate eggs.
Seriously. There's also natural, which isn't necessarily misleading, but it doesn't really mean anything because natural is up for interpretation. There's not a regulation.
I would argue that natural it has to be rooted in some amount of misinformation just because there is no definition of what makes a cosmetic natural.
Yeah.
We'll do a whole episode on it at some point.
Yes.
What natural means in cosmetics. But a lot of it is just up to the brand to decide how they want to talk about their product.
Yeah. Because no one's coming after them if they market their product as natural and it's not actually because
Also, one marketing term that I have seen that is very misleading is made with natural ingredients. That only means that there are ingredients within the product that are considered natural. It doesn't mean anything about the entire product.
Yeah. It could be just like one extract.
Yeah. But they can put I mean, they can put whatever they want as marketing. There's no regulation really, but unless you go into cosmetic versus drug territory, but oh my gosh.
Go listen to episode 1 where we discuss.
Exactly. But yeah, like made with natural ingredients or like made with natural flavors or something, you know, like you see things like that where it's like, that doesn't actually mean anything about the product.
Yeah.
It's just a term that you can use.
Another one, we are doing a full episode about this coming soon. Preservatives, specifically saying that products are preservative free. Stop it. Your products are dangerous if they are not preserved.
Yeah.
Preservative free is, it's very harmful rhetoric to market your products as preservative free.
Yeah, I agree. Key ingredients. Key to your marketing story and literally nothing else.
Yes. Unless
not
you're
the product.
listing the emulsifier and preservative as your key ingredients, I don't want to hear it.
Key ingredients.
Water.
Water.
Truly.
Love her.
Yeah. I'm done with the key ingredients.
Influencers do tend to spread misinformation because they are just reiterating the marketing terms that are given to them by these companies. And so I think companies often will use things like made with natural ingredients as a marketing term. And then the way that can end up affecting consumers is that their favorite influencer can then go online and say whatever they want about the product kind of based on what they were told about it.
Yeah.
So they could say like, oh, it's fully natural and like it's so much better for you. I had to throw out all my old stuff because this one is like so much better. They could be talking about nothing.
Yeah.
You know? Like you don't know that they threw out their old products. You don't know like if they even use this product, but they could tell you, I found out that the products I was using on my baby are toxic.
Yes.
And it's like, okay, that's because the company told you that their product is not toxic.
Yeah.
But that's it.
That's part of the larger conversation I want to have with who is at fault, the influencer or the brand.
Yeah.
There is a large role that brands play in misinformation as well. Arguably larger than the role of influencers. They are the ones who are using the marketing terms like non-toxic, chemical-free, etc. And this is especially prevalent in clean beauty companies. They also, I've seen this one a lot more lately, science-backed as a marketing term.
Yeah.
And then I look at their website and there's no science anywhere, or they're citing organizations that are not science-based at all. So that's really frustrating. That
you know
science,
who you are.
I'm not naming names, but
if you're giving scores to individual ingredients, the truth will come out.
Your score is 0. Also, when it comes to brand deals, the brands usually have certain talking points or marketing claims that they want the influencer to talk about or to hit. And so that means that they're often responsible for the information that the influencer is spreading, because in order for the influencer to get paid, they have to say these talking points that the brand is asking them to say.
Yes. Yeah, you can tell that brands are usually giving influencers like a script.
Yeah.
If you listen to podcasts, you'll notice that everyone is saying
it's
the same thing.
Yeah. Brands also formulate based on what the consumer wants.
Yeah.
The brand should be trying to educate their consumers as best as possible, but instead, a lot of brands just go along with whatever the consumer market is doing, which is fueled by other brands. So it's kind of this vicious cycle of misinformation gets spread by maybe one brand. A consumer believes that, and then they start to think that that is the best way. And so then another brand comes in and is like, well, we have to formulate to these standards. And then it just goes around and around.
Yeah.
That leads to snowballing misinformation. There are also regulatory gaps that perpetuate misinformation as well. So there are certain states, not to call anyone out, but California, girl. California bans a lot of ingredients when other states don't.
California has known a lot of things to cause cancer.
But when one state has certain regulations like that, usually the brands are going to formulate to that state's requirements, especially a state as big as California.
Yeah.
Like imagine if you can't sell your product in California. That's kind of a big hit.
Right.
And so that can be confusing to customers if ingredients are banned in one state and not in another state. In 2023, the endorsement guide update said that ad disclosures must be, quote, clear, conspicuous, and unavoidable. So that's like saying hashtag ad within the first 3 words. But In 2024, there was a study that came out that said most influencers are not doing that. It's not always clear when it's an ad.
Yeah.
When it's not properly disclosed, that often leads consumers to thinking that the information is authentic.
Yeah.
And since consumers usually trust unbiased reviews of products, that lack of disclosure can lead them to trust and hype up products that are actually being advertised to them rather than it being like a legitimate review of the influencer's own free will. And then there are also loopholes in marketing claims. We've touched on this already, but things like natural, clean, hypoallergenic, clinically proven, those things all have nuance and loopholes to them sometimes. And in the EU, they need adequate substantiation for all of their claims, but brands can base their claims on really small studies, and that will count as adequate substantiation. So there are ways that brands can get around it. But yeah, I think overall, what are your thoughts on who's ultimately at fault when it comes to perpetuating misinformation?
I definitely think it's still the brands. Just because I think, they are the ones putting money into it. They're the ones paying people to talk about their products. And I think it's irresponsible to pay someone to say something that's not true. So I do think ultimately it is on the brands. A lot of the whole science versus marketing concept to me feels very elementary as far as the smart kid versus the popular kids. Stereotypically, the popular kids are not that smart, but they're very enthusiastic and very well liked.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I think it's just as humans, a lot of the real world is very similar to what we experience as children.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of the disconnect that I am seeing is there's a lot of really, really smart people, but no one's listening to them because they're not the popular kids.
Yep.
The ones that have the big following and the ones that are more enthusiastic and more exciting. If they say more enthusiastic and more exciting things, then they're going to hold more attention.
Yes.
And as everybody knows, we're in the attention economy. Like actual science does not tend to be that exciting, or at least usually is not talked about. It can't be as exciting as pouring slime on your best friend. I'm just saying, like, I had a conversation today about how the media that people are consuming, they want something to happen fast and they want it to be exciting.
Yes.
And then they want to move on. It's like on TikTok, I don't know how many seconds. It's like 3 seconds to get someone's attention. It's very short and it's getting shorter. If you are a brand trying to sell something like a product, you're not going to have the time to explain the actual science to someone. Here's the actual science of sulfates. And an added benefit is that it's cheaper than this other product. And so you can keep buying whatever shampoo you want because it's safe and effective. And I'm going to explain why. Like, that is customer retention.
Yeah.
But it's not attention grabbing. It's not exciting. But if you can start off with being like, your ingredients are toxic, then all of a sudden you're like, what?
Yeah.
What did you say? And it takes more salacious stuff to grab people's attention. I think that's a big reason why misinformation is spread, is because you take the most exciting part of what you're trying to talk about and then you try to make it even more exciting. And sometimes in doing that, you completely miss any sort of reality and truth.
Definitely. And I think too, we are in the age of things needing to be exciting, but also the beauty industry is so oversaturated. It's all about figuring out what's going to differentiate your product from other things. If you can say all these other products are toxic, but mine isn't, that's a differentiator.
Yeah.
If you want to get more money and you want to put out a more expensive product, you have to figure out a way to justify that. And a big way that that's happening right now is the clean beauty movement by saying, of course it's more expensive. It's cleaner. It's better for you. It has natural ingredients.
The words free of are short and effective. And so I think saying like free of or free from is a great marketing slogan that grabs people's attention. And you don't even have to put like something like preservatives. You can say free from preservatives. And people are like, oh yeah, of course preservatives are harmful.
Yep.
But it's like, no, they're not. And no one ever said that they were.
Yes. You're just making up stuff.
Yeah.
You
can use the words free of to draw your own conclusion about what is and is not good for you and what is harmful. But companies can kind of get away with saying like, oh, our grapes are free of gluten. But it's like, as they always
No
have since the dawn of grapes. If you're the consumer and you're looking at two options in the drugstore and one of them is $6 and one of them's $12, you might buy the $12 one if it's free of all of these things you've never heard of.
Yes, they're letting you draw your own conclusion from that. Yeah, I agree. I think that ultimately it is up to the brands. There are certain brands that are very science-backed that I really love.
Mm-hmm.
I can include some of them in the blog post, but
yeah,
I think that those brands are doing the good work in trying to educate their consumers and teach them about ingredients, teach them about why things are safe and effective, things like that. And so I appreciate the brands that are doing that. And I do think that the brands who are continuing to perpetuate misinformation, at this point, there's no excuse for it. And if you have a brand, you should be aware of misinformation.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't just claim ignorance anymore. I do think that there is some accountability that needs to be taken with influencers when it comes to spreading misinformation as well. The brands, I think, are the main perpetrators, but I would love to see influencers be a little bit more choosy and selective about the brand deals that they're taking and make sure that the information that they're spreading is accurate.
Yes, they are definitely benefiting on the misinformation train if they are not doing their due diligence in looking into the products that they're promoting and seeing if that is true and just taking things at face value.
Yep, because they're getting paid for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is another big goal of our podcast, is to create an easy way for you to understand what's true and what's not, because obviously science can be difficult. And so if we can give you that information in an easily digestible way, hopefully that makes it a little bit easier for influencers or people who don't have scientific backgrounds to vet these sorts of things and know what to look for and what not to when it comes to brand deals.
Yeah.
And I also think there is a role of you guys. I think that consumers perpetuate unscientific content because accurate content isn't as instantly gratifying, like you said.
Yeah.
It's not as attention grabbing, and misinformation is easily spread and it's easily rewarded through the algorithm. And so consumers also often spread information from platform to platform without doing their own due diligence to make sure that that information is accurate and correct. If you are reposting things that are not accurate or correct, if you are telling your friends about things that you saw on TikTok and you didn't make sure that it was the right information, you also play a role in spreading misinformation.
Right.
So I think ultimately it's mostly up to the brands. It's kind of up to the influencers, but it's also up to consumers. And I think we all have a role to play in combating misinformation. Hopefully you as a consumer feel a little bit more empowered to know what is misinformation and what isn't, and to no longer spread things that are not true.
And something that you mentioned earlier is that ultimately these cosmetic companies are formulating their products for what sells. And so even if you are not perpetuating misinformation by talking about it, obviously you can't fully avoid all companies that greenwash or companies that market clean beauty. But I do think there is some role on the consumers to stop demanding things that they're not willing to look into.
Yeah. I personally, and you as well, I'm sure, if I see a company who markets clean beauty or uses those free from terms, I don't use those products. Regardless of whether or not I like the performance of the product. I personally do not support companies that use that type of marketing.
Right.
Hopefully, if we support more science-backed companies, we can kind of flip the script a little bit. And support science rather than misinformation.
Right. Misinformation works because it works. But if we stop letting it work, then companies will also be forced to take a little bit more time and responsibility for spreading correct information and putting more time and effort into delivering products that are actually science-based.
Yep, exactly.
Well, that was great.
Thank you. Just make sure as a consumer, you are doing your due diligence and supporting science.
Yeah. And that's why we're here, is so that you as consumers can take a second. Let me think of what that means. And then you can say, let me ask my 2 favorite cosmetic chemists because they would love to tell me everything I need to know and put me at ease that sulfates are actually great cleansing agents.
Shout out to sulfates and shout out to preservatives. I would shout that from the rooftops.
Please.
But yeah, we're here to educate you guys, to give you some good science-backed information. If you have anything specifically that you are curious about and you want us to do episodes about soon, let us know. We have some ideas, but we are also very open to telling you guys what you want to know.
We will tailor our schedules to your needs.
Exactly.
We're taking the science and we're giving it to you.
We are mere messengers.
So tell me, what science would you like us to pluck from the science tree and prepare for your platter?
And that's really good at making
it's farm to
charcuterie
table
boards. So farm to table science. All right.
Well, thank you.
Of course. Thank you.
And thank you guys for listening. If you've made it this far, truly,
shouts out.
You are our favorite.
Yes.
Don't tell the others, but we love you more.
And we would love you even more if you left us a review.
Yes, please, please. You've made it this far. You're already done with the episode. All you have to do is go give it 5 stars and it would help us out so much. You're already going to pick something else because I don't know what's starting now.
Oh, something random.
Yeah, something random's about to come on. I know you didn't queue anything up.
Or if you're in between episodes, maybe episode 2 is going to start.
That's true. That's true. But also, you review the whole show, so you can wait till you're done with us.
Yeah,
just give us a review at the end. The podcast stops here until next Wednesday, but that doesn't mean that
you have
the content stops. That doesn't mean that you have to stop being with us because you can still find us online. Beauty X Beaker, we post all the time, every day. You can also go to our website, beautyxbeaker.com. We will have a blog post with today's show notes as well as sources, links to our personal socials. Yeah. Don't let the fun stop here. Continue to our website. Continue to our socials. Continue your own personal journeys as well. Continue to seek truth in the cosmetic industry.
Exactly. So, all right, guys. We'll see you next Wednesday.
See you next Wednesday.
Bye.
Goodbye.